In this video, I'll be breaking down the best weight loss diet for breastfeeding mothers. I myself am a mom of 9 and I have done both bottle fed and breastfed my babies. And unfortunately, there have been times that I actually chosen bottle feeding over breastfeeding because breastfeeding just made me too hungry. I was frustrated with, having the extra baby weight, and I just honestly didn't really know better at the time. This video will have two parts to it. So the first part is going to talk about habits that you need to start practicing in order to reach your goals. And then the other part is going to be about how you can start a healthy lifestyle when you're on a budget and you're not able to afford to just afford all the organic food, or because a lot of times the thing that holds people back is just the financial aspect of it, and just getting overwhelmed with not even being able to afford the foods that are the better options. So before we go on, I want to tell you guys that I actually got my health coaching certification when I was pregnant with my 6th baby. So the reason why I ended up getting my health coaching certification is because I wanted to learn everything that I could learn about nutrition and how to eat a balanced lifestyle, because I was so done with dieting. Like, I had low carb diet in between babies. I gained like a massive 40 pounds or more and was so desperate to get that weight off, and I was just depressed, stressed out, and couldn't enjoy motherhood because I was so worried about just not being comfortable in the body that I was in. So I took a whole course and got a certification to be able to learn about nutrition. It was before I had even decided to take on a career with helping other moms that were like myself to be able to lose weight naturally and get healthy. I literally took the certification to be able to get my own life together. So like, I was restricting calories trying to lose weight while breastfeeding, but I didn't have the education to know that that was actually going to drop my milk supply, and I ended up not having a substantial amount of breast milk. Like, basically the dieting interfered with the whole breastfeeding process, and yeah, it was just a mess. Those first 3 months that you're breastfeeding your baby is very important for you to have enough calories and proper nutrition, even to be able to have a healthy enough breast milk supply, because a lot of mothers they end up bottle feeding even though that's not really what they want to do, but it's just because the breast milk supply is not there. That can very well be because you're just simply not having enough calories. But then when you think about eating more calories while you're trying to lose weight, it can seem hopeless. So you only need about 500 to 600 extra calories a day while you're breastfeeding. It's not that you need to eat 2 meals, or you need the portion size of 2 meals, or you need to eat for 2 while you're breastfeeding. You literally just need an extra about 500 or 600 calories. Before you even go to the grocery store, there are things that should be put into place while you're breastfeeding. So one is staying hydrated. Staying hydrated is so important, not just for your health and your breast milk supply, but also because not being hydrated, it makes you hungry. Basically, your body doesn't know the difference between thirst and hunger. Your body will give you the same response when you're thirsty as it will when you're hungry. So if you're dehydrated and you literally just need water, fluids in your system, you may be eating and still feeling hungry. So one of the things to do about that is, like, you don't have to carry around a gallon of water and like force feed yourself water, because that can be miserable. I've done that and experienced that myself as well. But what I've found to be the most helpful is like drinking a cup of water before you have a meal. One, it'll help curb your appetite, okay, and also you're hydrating your body. So if you just make a habit of that to the best of your ability throughout the day, when you know you're going to be eating your meal, just go ahead and hydrate. Okay, this part is really important. Absolutely do not try to restrict your calories. Do not count calories at all. That's so important, because you could be hungry because you literally just don't have enough calories, and you don't know what's necessary for your supply for your baby. So you want to take like a natural approach with listening to your body and actually eating when you feel hungry. But the next habit to establish is, instead of eating the 3 big large meals throughout the day, you want to cut those meals in half and have smaller portions. So smaller portions doesn't mean less food. It just means like you're eating less in one sitting. So the trick is for you to actually place a snack in between the next meal. So you want to start off by just straight off the bat cutting your meals in half, not to restrict calories, but to spread out how often you're actually eating, because your hormones also have a lot to do with feelings of hunger. Like, for example, the insulin hormone, when you eat a large quantity of food at one time, your hormones are already thrown off whack from postpartum and, you know, breastfeeding and all that stuff, being up at night with the new baby. It just throws your hormones off. So, but the insulin hormone has everything to do with your blood sugar and how your body is responding to the food. So whenever you eat smaller portions of food, you're able to control that insulin spike. The insulin spike in itself causes hunger. So if you're finding yourself eating like large portions, large plates of food, your insulin is going to go up to try to control your blood sugar and manage like that large amount of food that you just ate. And it's unhealthy for your blood sugar, and it also makes you hungry and can cause you to have all sorts of like different food cravings and everything. So you want to practice by cutting your food portion in half. And then before you reach the next meal time, you want to place a healthy option in between. So you don't want to go grab a bag of chips, although breastfeeding causes you to have cravings. So a lot of times it's about like how you eat what you eat, and not like exactly what you're eating. So I'm not saying you can't have a bag of chips. I'm just saying that after you've cut your breakfast in half, you want to place a healthy option there in between breakfast and lunch. If you want to eat an apple and I'm not encouraging anyone to eat chips, but if you're going to have them, combine it with something healthy so that you're able to get the nutrition that you need. Because if you don't have certain nutrients in your diet, you're going to be hungry as well, because you're feeding a whole nother human. Like, you have to throw all the dieting rules out the window. Literally, you have to throw the dieting rules out the window and listen to your body. Focus on what it is that you really want to eat, because if you're trying to diet and trying to cut certain things out of your diet completely, all that's going to do is make you obsessed with the food. It's going to make you frustrated and lead to like binge eating. So it's better for you to eat a handful of chips if you're craving chips, or 2 handfuls or 3 handfuls, and have, you know, an apple, some sliced fruit, whatever type of whole food that you're able to have to balance it out, versus you going in the pantry, throwing away whatever you consider to be unhealthy in the pantry, throwing everything out, and then you just literally get burned out and overwhelmed, missing your favorite foods, your favorite snacks, and then you just go on a binge eating and you're just sitting down and just eating the whole bag of chips. You know, so a lot of this is about establishing healthy habits, and not just like an all or nothing approach by throwing everything unhealthy out and just trying to have a perfect diet. Your main meals, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, should always have a source of protein. That does not have to be animal protein. It can be plant-based protein. And it's actually like the plant-based protein, as far as like beans, lentils, you know, those things, it can actually be more affordable than the animal protein anyway. But whether it's animal or plant-based, it doesn't matter. You should make sure that you have a source of protein, 3/4 cup to 1 cup of protein with your main meals. Not only do you want to have the protein like on your plate, what you want to do, if you can, it takes practice. You know, changing the way you eat is never going to be something that you can just entirely do overnight. It's always going to be a process, and it takes time. So what you want to try to start doing is like eating the protein on your plate first, instead of like saving the protein for last. What you want to do is try to eat the protein first. And another trick is to eat slower, to become more mindful while you're eating, and like just slow the pace of eating. Because if you start eating the protein first, and then you go to the other food choices on your plate, when you eat slower, what it does is it gives your body the time to process the protein. And one of the things protein does is it actually keeps you fuller longer. So that's very, very important, you know, because if you're hungry, if you can't gain control of the hunger, it's nearly impossible for you to just stop going crazy on food. It's really important for you to curb that hunger, and to address the hunger so that you can take control of your diet. In the beginning, I talked about like portion control, in the way of like cutting your meals in half. So basically, some people like to call it having 6 mini meals instead of 3 large meals. And so it's just about spreading it out. It doesn't have to do with literally like eating more food. It's just eating more frequently. So, but one of the ways to do like the whole portion control thing, and I did this for at least, like, whenever I started my healthy living lifestyle, I did it for at least the first 1 to 2 years, literally, is to eat on a smaller dish. It's it's a psychology trick. You know, you eat on a smaller plate, it just makes you feel like you have more food instead of getting a huge plate and then you have like a few drops of food on the plate. You know, you put all that into practice. So you get a smaller dish and you have less food and you eat slower, right? Your body is going to thank you because you won't have these huge insulin spikes from eating a larger amount of food. And if you balance and you have something healthy along with whatever it is that you would normally eat, because this here is not about having a perfect diet. It's not about only eating whole foods or 100% healthy. You want to listen to your body. That's so important. If you try to go against what it is that you're naturally craving to eat, it's just going to make you obsessed with the food and just, you know, just have you really miserable. And that's just simply too overwhelming, you know, to go through while you have a new baby and a breastfeeding baby. Breastfeeding is so demanding, and it in itself is just overwhelming, period. You know, but you can enjoy it. One of the ways that you can enjoy that whole process and bonding with your baby, and, you know, especially if you're exclusively breastfeeding, is to listen to your body and put healthy habits before, like, before picking the perfect food choices. We're gonna get into like what to look for in the grocery store, especially if you're on a budget, like how you can start making healthier choices without going over a spending budget that you have for shopping. So when you go to the grocery store, you'll have to start reading food labels, and I know food labels can be overwhelming and stressful if you don't know what to focus on. You just see a lot of ingredients, half of them you don't even know what they are. You literally have to pull out your phone and Google them. But some of the things that you want to focus on is you don't ever want to buy something without reading the ingredient label. So there's a general rule of thumb. If you have, for example, like 3 different loaves of bread, because again, we're not trying to just completely change your diet over to 100% whole foods, healthy foods all the time. So say, for example, you're gonna choose your loaf of bread. Instead of going for the one that you always go for, what you want to do is you want to grab a couple of them, 2 or 3 of them, and turn the packaging around. Look at the ingredients. All right, look at the ingredients, and you want to choose the one that has the less amount of ingredients. For example, if you have a loaf of bread that has 30 ingredients, and then you have one that has 15 or 10, you want to choose the ones that have the less ingredients in it, because the less ingredients means that it has less fillers, it has less junk in it. Some of those things actually, they affect your appetite. Some of those things, they have like addictive properties in them. So like the less amount of ingredients that are in your foods, the healthier it'll be in general. So after you choose, try to keep it somewhere around 10 ingredients or less. You want to look for high fiber and high protein, because that has everything to do with controlling hunger. Fiber and protein, they work together, and what they do is they provide you with fullness. So this part is going to take time, okay? It's going to take time, and it's going to take focus, and it's going to hold up your whole shopping, you know, but it's just necessary if you want to be able to clean up your diet, and you want to have a healthier body, because the ingredients have a lot to do with even how much you're eating, and, you know, cravings that you have. You want to clean up the ingredients list. So basically, you want to do this. You want to start doing this with everything that you pull off of the shelf that has a package. Your desserts, literally whatever it is that you normally would eat, canned foods, look at the back, make it a habit. Look at the ingredient label, 10 items or less. Another thing is try to go for choosing the option where it has the ingredients that you understand exactly what it is when you read it. You know, so instead of like trying to cut things out that say wheat or gluten or sugar, instead of like just trying to cut out those things that have a bad rep, what you want to do is you want to cut out ingredients that you don't know what they are when you read them. So that really makes a big difference in adopting a healthy, clean lifestyle, and that has everything to do with literally like your habits. You could pay 50 more cents on an item because it's slightly healthier, instead of just automatically choosing you know, based on the price of the item. If it's not too far of a deviation, yeah, you want to choose the item that it may cost a little bit more, but at the same time, it's going to help you to bring the results that you're really looking for with being able to have a cleaner and healthier diet. I also wanted to mention how important it is to prioritize sleep. I know it's such a difficult thing to do when you have a baby at home, especially a breastfeeding baby, because babies breastfeed on demand. So you could be sleeping well, but if your baby's hungry, you have to breastfeed your baby. But the reason why sleep is so important is because if you're sleep deprived, then your hormones, there are hormones that will get thrown off that just cause you to be hungry. And one of those is stress hormone, which is cortisol. Cortisol goes up. You know, one of the reasons why it goes up is because you don't have enough sleep. And it doesn't mean that you have to get more sleep at night. It just means that you have to get more sleep in general. So for example, you may have to sacrifice when your baby is taking a nap during the day. You may have to sacrifice something that you really want to do for just getting 1 or 2 extra hours of sleep. For example, if you're looking forward to watching a movie or, you know, talking on the phone, you may have to sacrifice that just to make up for the sleep that you're not getting at night. So sleep plays a really big part in managing your weight and losing weight. As long as that stress, that hormone that I'm talking about, cortisol, is a fat storage hormone. It's called a stress hormone. And when that hormone is high, it tends to cause you to gain weight in your midsection, the place where none of us want to be holding on to extra weight. But yeah, but it also prevents your weight loss efforts. So you have like a lot of things that can be working against you while you're breastfeeding, and it's not all only your diet. It's about putting all of these habits into place to help you like reach that goal in a holistic way, prioritizing sleep, you know, cutting down your portions. You never want to fill your stomach while you're eating. You never want to fill your stomach. If your stomach feels tight or full, like, you know, you're not even able to sit up, it just means you're overdoing it with the food. If you get that full, you're definitely consuming way too many calories. Okay, so that also is something that can be worked on, that doesn't have anything to do with actually being able to afford like whole foods or healthy foods. You know, when it comes to also like grocery shopping and choosing healthy food options, you have to choose what you can afford. You cannot do anything about knowing that this is a healthier option, but I can't afford it. You know, so don't stress over things that you have no control over. Choose the better option of the two and go about doing your shopping that way. Also, prioritize buying whole foods over processed foods. You want to get the foods that will last longer. Like, for example, another thing is choose foods that you already like. That's very important. Don't force yourself to eat things that you don't like. If you only like grapes, let that be your healthy choice that you have in between your breakfast and your lunch. And then you want to do that again in between your lunch and your dinner. You want to cut your lunch in half and have a healthy snack in between your lunch and your dinner. Don't force yourself. You know, just start off with the things that you like. If you're not a big vegetable fan, don't try to force yourself to eat salads, okay? you can try them out. But if you like fruit, like I said, you can choose apple, you can choose grapes, you can choose whatever food, whole foods it is that you already like, and then be gentle with yourself with working in the things that you don't really care for. But in the beginning of the journey, it really has a lot to do with your mindset and establishing balance, and also healthy mindset, with you knowing that you can only do what's in your capacity to do. When you're shopping, you're only able to buy the foods that you literally can afford to buy, and just do the best with what you have. That would literally be my best advice. Like, don't overeat. Choose ingredients as clean as possible when you are shopping. Prioritize your sleep. Have water throughout the day. Don't even worry about measuring it. So just establish the habit of incorporating it in regularly, instead of, I have to drink a liter, I have to drink a half a gallon. Forget about the numbers, and focus on the habits. Oh yeah, and if your doctor recommended for you to stay on your supplements, on your multivitamins or your prenatal vitamins while you're breastfeeding, it's very important to do that. It's for a reason. It's because the typical diet that we have these days, it's not balanced enough. There are not enough nutrients in our diet. So the supplements, it's making sure that your body is also getting everything that it needs. So I wanted to put that out there as well. If your baby is like less than 6 months old and you've already stopped taking your multivitamins, you might want to consider taking those. If your doctor recommend that you continue taking those for up to the first year, you definitely want to continue doing that. All right, so I hope that you found this video to be helpful, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.